Hiya, welcome to my August TBR. So before we get started, I'd like to say that I read absolutely zero in July. The only book that I actually managed to finish was this one right here, and that is Goosebumps House of Shiver series, the scariest book ever. I actually gave this one a 3.5 to a low 4 stars. I'm not entirely sure where this falls into. But basically, this only has about 144 pages, and this is the only book that I finished. It was a really good book, really reminiscent of the original Goosebumps series. But this one had, I think, quite a few more twists, even though it was actually quite predictable for the main part of it. But there was still quite a few little twists that threw me off in the end, which I'm really glad about because I wasn't entirely sold on it first off. In fact, I was actually thinking about DNFing it about halfway through because I'd already worked out like the main story part of it. But actually ended up enjoying it. It wasn't the best book I ever read, but I actually really did like it. So that falls at about a 3.5 4 star. If I wanted to be pinning it down to exactly, I'd say it's more 3.75. So for the first book that I pulled for July TBR was Golden Blood by Melissa Pearl. I am currently about 40% through this book, but I haven't entirely finished yet. And so far, he hasn't really got into the whole time traveling aspect of it, which by 40% through the book, you'd think I'd have come across it by now. You kind of get like little inklings towards it. You mostly see her fighting and training, and the start of the relationship. It's actually more a romance novel at this point. And like I said, you don't really get the main element of the story yet, which by 40%, if it wasn't such an easy read and quite quick paced, I think that I would have DNF'd it by now. But I'm still not sure on my feelings for it yet until I get all the way through. So I'm going to give it to about, say, 65%. And if I'm still not getting to the time traveling element of it, I think it actually will be a DNF, but only time will tell. Then we actually got The Last Bookstore on Earth by Lily Braun Arnold. I have not even touched this book yet, which actually goes to show how bad my reading was last month. So I can't give any thoughts on this yet, but I will also be rolling this into next month along with Golden Blood by Melissa Pearl. So that's 2 books on the TBR so far already. And then for our third and final book, we got the Supernatural Horror Collection by Lee Mountford. This is a very chunky book, comprising of 3 stories, and I got about 40% through book 1 of 3. So again, it is what it is, but it's already a chunky book on this month's TBR rolling over. I'm not entirely sure what I'm thinking about this book. I love Lee Mountford's writing and it is intriguing me, but nothing has really happened yet. They've only just got to the house and I'm about 30% through. So again, a third of the way through the book, not very much has happened. So I like books that are more quick paced than this, but I've liked the rest of Lee Mountford's writing, and he does tend to be a slow burner. So it is what it is, and we'll just see how we get on with it, I guess. So, with that being said, let's get on to this month's TBR. Okay, so that was a little bit of a rocky start. Again, it's mirroring what we had last month, so yeah, it actually came as quite a shocker. Yes, we got sent back to the beginning, but it's 0 books so far. And then, of course, we got Loose Floorboards, which was set in space. So for this, I'm actually going to go with Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. It's a YA novel about a young girl called Spencer, and they're living below the surface of the planet. And there's this alien race called the Krell who comes down to fight them and basically keep them on the planet and prevent them from rising up. There's battles over stuff like materials and stuff like that. And there's basically huge ongoing war between them and the alien race. Her father was a pilot, but he actually got disgraced when he basically ran away and went AWOL. And so, after many years later, Spencer, when she's grown up, wants to become a fighter pilot like her dad. So she has to deal with the other students on the course, training to become young fighter pilots, and how her family has been disgraced. And yeah, I really enjoyed book one. Um, I started reading book two many months ago, put it down for something else, never got back to it. So this will be my reread refresher of the first book in order to continue the series. And I am so looking forward to it. I really, really enjoyed Skyward and I gave it a high 4 stars on my first read. So looking forward to getting to the rest of them. Interesting. Then we got all a book. I think the last book that I actually purchased was about 6, 7 weeks ago now. So yes, it'd be a nice change. I've been trying to give myself not a book buying ban, but I guess essentially just to see if I can get my physical TBR down any more. And of course, then I wasn't expecting to go into a slump. So I actually haven't unhauled books in quite some time, but I'm due to go through my library at some point soon. And yes, there will be an unhaul video coming up. I have no idea what book I'm going to haul, so we'll just see how it goes during the month and what mood I'm in. And this is not essentially to read it within this month. I may do, I may not. It depends on how the rest of this game goes. And then we go comedy. So for this, I think I'm going to choose How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell. I have seen the movie many, many times. It's one of my favorites. And it's about this young boy called Hiccup. And Hiccup's father is the leader of their tribe. And this is all about Hiccup leading 10 novices into the tribe by training dragons. I have no idea how the movies and the books differ. I've watched all the movies but never read any of the books, so this will be a wonderful new experience for me. Then we got Booktuber's worst book of the previous year. So with this, I am going to go with One of Step Louse, worst books, and that would be Gallant by B. Schwab. I have actually read this before, so this will be a reread for me. And this is all about a young girl called Olivia Pryor. She is basically an orphan and is mute. Olivia receives a letter from an uncle that she's never met, so decides to go and live with him in his giant estate. But when she actually gets there, it turns out the letter is several years old. Her uncle is actually dead and the estate's been empty for years, all except the servants. But she's committed to stay nonetheless. But she must follow two rules. Don't go out after dusk, and always stay on the right side of the wall surrounding the estate. And this edition of the book that I got has beautiful illustrations and is actually what really drew me to the book. And the copy that I have is absolutely stunning, as you can see in the pictures here. So I'm really looking forward to a reread. It's been quite a while now, but I don't know, it's something that's calling me to this book, so I'm going to pick it up for this month. Then we got Secondhand. So for Secondhand, I decided to go with Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. Editor Susan Ryland has worked for best-selling crime writer Alan Conway for years. Readers love this detective, Atticus Punt, a celebrated solver of crimes in the sleepy English villages in the 1950s. But Conway's latest tale of murder at Pye Hall is not quite what it seems. Yes, there are dead bodies and a host of intriguing suspects, but hidden in the pages of the manuscript lies another story, a tale written between the very words on the page, telling of real-life jealousy, greed, ruthless ambition, and murder. We all know that I love a good thriller, so I'm really looking forward to this one. So now we have Dusty Book. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we've got Dead Yard, Seeds of Doom by P.J. Kilburn. I know this one's technically not a Dusty Book because it's not even out yet, but I've had the ARC edition of it for quite some time now, so that's why it's on this list. I don't quite remember what this book is about, so let's have a look. Budding filmmaker Jermaine is at his great-great-uncle's dead yard, a service for the deceased to last the entire night. There's music, tons of people, and lots of food. So when Jermaine spots a plate of patties, his favorite snack, he digs in immediately, but upon taking his bite, he finds himself in big trouble. Turns out that at Dead Yard, a table is set up under a tent with food for the departed loved one. No one is allowed to eat from it before midnight, which is believed to be the time when the spirit passes through. Jermaine wishes he knew that before 2253. Now he's got the angry spirit of his Uncle Carl in his life all the time. But that isn't the only creepy happening in town. Kids are suffering from a mysterious illness that sounds a lot like the Jamaican ghost tales his great gran has told him. With cursed cassava seeds in the house and a strange being lurking in the neighborhood too, Jermaine and Carl will have to work together to keep the people they care about safe. This sounds very goosebumpsy. So, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this book. And the cover is stunning, and we all know that I love a spooky middle grade. Okay, next up we got Gifted. So for this, I am actually going to go with the gifted copy of the Raven series. I'm probably going to regret this one at 677 pages, but it'll be great to get this off my list. And this is a bind up of the three books. It only took one heartbeat to change Piper's life. One chilling phone call in the middle of the night. Piper is a banshee, but she doesn't know it until she spends a summer with a grandma she's never met. A dark past follows Piper, and her only salvation might be the one person she has sworn to avoid, Zane Hunter. 6 feet of swoon-inducing looks, he is the type of guy who leaves a string of broken hearts in his wake. This is a YA paranormal romance. So we're getting a little bit of a spooky vibe quite early for August. Not that I'm complaining because I love a good spooky vibe. So we got Yellow on the cover, and for this I'm going to go with Every Move You Make by C.L. Taylor. C.L. Taylor is one of my favourite thriller authors. Alexandra, Lucy, Bridget, River, and Natalie, 5 friends who wish they'd never met, because the one thing they have in common is the worst thing in their lives: they are all being stalked. When one of their group is murdered, days after their stalker is released from prison, time stands still for them all. They know their lives could end just as brutally at any moment. All it takes is for the people they fear the most to catch up with them. When the group receive a threat that one of them will die in 10 days' time, the terror that stalks their daily lives becomes all-consuming. But they know they don't want to be victims anymore. It's time to turn the tables and finally get their revenge, because the only way to stop a stalker is to become one yourself. That line gave me immediate goosebumps, and I cannot wait to start this one. Okay, and that's it for the game. So we have actually ended up with 10 books. It's a little bit staggering compared to usual because two of them are massive chonkers, but I'm still quietly confident. Even though I have been in a slump lately, I have my readathon starting on the 1st of August. So I am really, really psyched for that, and I hope that will jolt me back into reading. So if you haven't heard of the Love Yourself Readathon, I will leave a link in the description box below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!